Welcome, everyone. Please stand and unite in singing the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly revealed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare of once bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Members and guests, the purpose of this service is to honor our country's flag, to celebrate the anniversary of its birth, and to recall the achievements attained beneath its folds. It is quite appropriate that such a service should be held by the Order of Elks, an organization that is distinctively American, intensely patriotic, and without counterpart. Esteemed leading knight, what are the fraternal aims of the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks?
To inculcate the principles of charity, justice, and brotherly love, to promote the welfare and happiness of mankind, to uphold our country and its laws, and to quicken the spirit of American patriotism.
Esteemed leading knight, what is the significance of the American flag?
It is the crowning virtue of charity.
Esteemed loyal knight, what is the significance of the American flag?
It is emblematic of justice for all.
Esteemed lecturing knight, what is the significance of the American flag?
It is a symbol of brotherly love.
Lodge Esquire, what is the significance of the American flag from the station of the exalted ruler?
It is the symbol of fidelity.
Charity, justice, brotherly love, and fidelity are the cardinal principles of our order, and they are exemplified in all of our services. By them, we teach the love of country and of our countrymen, and loyalty to our American way of life. To be an elk is to be an American citizen who lives for their country and is ready to die for it. Please stand. The chaplain will lead us in prayer.
Almighty God, in this hour of patriotic observance of the birthday of the American flag, we ask you to bless our flag and the people of these United States for all that our flag represents, both at home and abroad, we thank thee, and that through all our history as a nation, it has been an ensign of freedom, liberty, and opportunity. And through the years to come, may this flag wave as the banner of liberty, freedom, and enlightenment. May this service bring to each of us a sense of loyalty to our country and enable us to be better patriots, truer citizens, and more loyal Americans. To thy glory and to the honor of this great nation. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. That we may better understand the meaning of our flag, I call upon all of us to thoughtfully consider the history of the flag. Heraldry is as old as the human race. The carrying of banners has been a custom among all peoples in all ages. These banners usually contain some concept of the life or government of those who fashion them. The evolution of the American flag marks the progression of the government of the American people. From the founding of Jamestown, Virginia in 1607 until 1775, the flag of England was the flag of the peoples of America. In 1775, the pine tree flag was adopted for all colonial vessels, and this was the banner carried by the Continental forces in the Battle of Bunker Hill. The southern colonies, from 1776 to 1777, used the snake flag. The latter part of 1775, the Continental Congress appointed a committee to consider the question of a single flag for the 13 colonies. That committee recommended a design of 13 alternate stripes of red and white, with an azure field in the upper corner bearing the red cross of St. George and the white cross of St. Andrew. John Paul Jones, the senior lieutenant of the flagship Alfred, hoisted this flag to the masthead on December 3, 1775, and 1 month later, it was raised over the headquarters of General Washington at Cambridge, Massachusetts. In compliment, he wrote, to the United Colonies. This flag, called the Continental Colors and the Grand Union, was never carried in the field by Continental Land Forces, but it was used by the Navy as its exclusive ensign and was the first American flag to receive a salute of honor, a salute of 11 guns from the Fort of Orange in the Dutch West Indies. In response to a general demand for a banner more representative of our country, the Congress on June 14, 1777, provided the following: that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes of alternating red and white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white on a blue field, representing a new constellation. It is generally believed that in May or June of 1776, a committee consisting of George Washington, Robert Morris, and George Ross commissioned Betsy Ross, a Philadelphia Quakeress, to make a flag from a rough design they left with her. It is said that she suggested that the stars should have 5 points rather than 6. This starry banner was first flown at Fort Stanwix, called Fort Schuyler at the time, near the city of Rome, New York, on August 3, 1777, and was under fire 3 days later at the Battle of Oriskany on August 6, 1777, during a British and Indian attack. The first official salute to the Stars and Stripes was given on February 14, 1778, by France on the French coast, when the Ranger, under the command of John Paul Jones, was saluted by the French fleet. This flag, then carried by the Ranger, was made by the young women of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, from stripes of their best colored silk gowns and the white wedding gown of a recent bride. It is said that this same Ranger's flag was flown by Jones's ship, the Bonami Richard, in its thrilling fight by moonlight upon the high seas with the British frigate Serapis. When the Serapis struck her colors, the immortal fame of John Paul Jones was ensured as the intrepid defender of the youthful republic. The original 13 stars and stripes represented the original 13 colonies. In 1795, 2 additional stars and stripes were added to represent admission to the Union of Vermont and Kentucky. Under this banner of 15 stars and stripes was fought the War of 1812. It was the site of it flying over Fort McHenry on September 14, 1814, that inspired Francis Scott Key to write what was to become our national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. Miss Margaret Young, who cut the stars for that particular banner, was the mother of Henry Sanderson, the Grand Exalted Ruler of the Order of Elks in 1884. The Congress on April 14, 1818, adopted a resolution that on and after July 4, 1818, the number of stripes should be 13, and that the blue field should carry 1 star for each of the 20 states in the Union, and that a new star should be added for each state thereafter admitted. Since 1818, there has been no change in the flag design, except that 28 new stars were added before July 4th, 1912. And this flag of 48 stars flew over the nation for 47 years, until just before the Vietnam War. On July 4th, 1959, a star was added for Alaska, our first non-connected state, and a year later, Hawaii, our island state, added a 50th star. Our present flag, 50 stars and 13 stripes. It is accompanied by the POW MIA flag to recognize the plight and demise of a special group of our armed services, those who were prisoners of war or still remain missing in action. The flags are presented by Boy Scout Troop 606. Please stand and salute our flag. As this flag is first in our hearts as loyal Americans, so is it close to our altar as loyal Elks. The gentle breezes with lingering caress kiss the folds of no flag which can compare with it in beauty. There is no such red in budding rose, in falling leaf, or sparkling wine. No such white in April blossom, in crescent moon, or mountain snow. No such blue in woman's eye, in ocean's depth, or heaven's dome, and no such pageantry of clustering stars and streaming light in all the spectrum of the sea and sky. At ease. Please be seated. Our flag is at once a history, a declaration, and a prophecy. It represents the American nation as it was at its birth. It speaks for what it is today, and it holds the opportunity for the future to add other stars to the glorious constellation. The Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks is the first and only fraternal body to require formal observance of Flag Day. In July of 1908, the Grand Lodge of this order at Dallas, Texas, then assembled, provided for the annual nationwide observance of Flag Day on the 14th of June in each year by making it mandatory upon each subordinate lodge of the order. This unique distinction as the strongest promoter of Flag Day is most becoming to the Order of Elks. This order is distinctively American. Only American citizens are eligible to join it, and it has no foreign affiliations. It has linked its destiny with the destiny of our country and made this flag its symbol of self-dedication to God, to country, and to fellow men. Please stand and join in singing God Bless America.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair.
Please be seated. The Stars and Stripes, flag of the United States of America, the worldwide hope of all who under God would be free to live and do his will. Upon its folds is written the story of America, the epic and mightiest and noblest in all history. In the days when the peoples of the old world groveled in abject homage to the divine right of kings, a new constellation appeared in the western skies, the Stars and Stripes, symbolizing the divine right of all to life, liberty, happiness, and peace, and under endowment by their Creator. To what man or woman is given words adequate to tell the story of the building of this nation? That immortal story is written in the blood and sweat, in the heroic deeds and the unremitting toil, in the clearing of the primeval forests and in the planting of the vast prairies where once the coyote and buffalo roamed. Onward swept the nation, spanning wide rivers, leaping vast mountain ranges, leaving in its path villages and farms, factories and cities, till at last this giant nation stood astride the continent from Atlantic to the Pacific. This is the heritage of the people of the United States. It has been repurchased by each succeeding generation, and it must be re-won again, again, and again, lest it too shall pass like the ancient empires of Greece and Rome. The price of liberty is eternal vigilance. What was won at Lexington and Concord and Bunker Hill had to be repurchased at Ticonderoga and Yorktown. What John Paul Jones achieved on the high seas in the War of Independence had to be repurchased by Commodore Perry on Lake Erie in the War of 1812. The prestige of Admiral Dewey's victory at Manila Bay in 1898 was re-won by the naval battles in the seas about the far distant islands of the Pacific after the sneak attacks on Pearl Harbor and Manila in 1941 had summoned our country to assume its role in World War II. What our troops achieved under the Stars and Stripes at Chateau Thierry and Flanders in World War I, their sons were required to repurchase in the World War II, in the bloody trek across northern Africa, on the beachheads of Europe, and in the Battle of the Bulge. The flag of our American men raised at Iwo Jima was the same flag later raised at the defense of Incheon, Pusan, and Pork Chop Hill in far-off Korea. Then another generation under the same flag bled to stem the threat of communism in far-off Vietnam. Our young people were again called to carry our flag in the defense of a free world in the actions of Grenada and Panama. Willingly, our brave men and women carried our flag and the honor of the American people into battle in Operation Desert Storm. And who among us will ever forget the sight of the firefighters raising the flag over the ruins of the World Trade Center, the military personnel draping our flag on the side of the Pentagon, or the citizens of Somerset County, Pennsylvania, placing our flag near the site where brave Americans died fighting the hijackers of Flight Number 93. No other symbol could have offered such comfort as we still today endure the horrors of that day. Today, American armed forces carry our flag in the villages of Iraq, the mountains of Afghanistan, and the jungles of the Philippines, and wherever terrorism may reside. Their struggle against the sponsors of terrorism is the hardest battle yet. And this threat to our nation and to our way of life is certainly as great as any challenge our flag has ever seen. The resurgence of patriotism since September 11, 2001 has rekindled respect for our flag. Today, we see the Star-Spangled Banner wherever we turn, on homes, businesses, automobiles, and billboards. Such displays stimulate our love for our nation and for what it stands for. They remind us of the sacrifices being made by the men and women of our armed forces around the world, and they are a tribute to the heroes of the police and fire departments the nation over. The greatest significance of this flag, however, lies in the influence it has in the hearts and minds of millions of people. It has waved over the unparalleled progress of a nation in developing democratic institutions, scientific and technological knowledge, education, and culture. It has served as a beacon for millions of poor and oppressed refugees abroad and stands as a promise that the underprivileged will not be forgotten. What is the meaning of the flag of the United States? There can never be a definitive answer to that question. There are people in this world who see it as a symbol of imperialism. Others see it as a destiny of the people. But reference to these and similar views of the flag was resolved by Woodrow Wilson when he said, "This flag, which we honor and under which we serve, is the emblem of our unity, our power, our thought, and shape this great nation. It has no other character other than that which we give it from generation to generation. The choices are ours." Only love, true love of our fellow man, can create peace. The emblem and token of that love is the stars and stripes, the symbol of the American way of life. Our Father's God, to thee, author of liberty, to thee we sing. Long may our land be bright with freedom's holy light. Protect us by thy might, great God, our King.
I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory, and I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch America's halls of justice, and I fly majestically over the institutions of learning. I stand guard with power in the world. Look up and see me, and I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice, and I stand for freedom. I am confident, I'm arrogant, and I am very proud. And when I'm flowing with my fellow banners, my head is a little higher, my colors are a little truer, and I bow to no one but our God. I'm recognized all over the world. I am saluted, I'm loved, and I'm revered. I'm respected, and I am feared. I have fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years. I was flowing in Valley Forge, Gettysburg, Shiloh. I was there at San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, Argonne Forest, Anzion, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, Guam, Okinawa, Korea, Saigon, Vietnam. They all know me. I'm presently in the mountains of Afghanistan and the hot, dusty deserts of wherever freedom is needed. I have led my troops when I was dirty, battle-worn and tired, but my soldiers cheered me, and I was proud. I have been burned, torn, trampled in the streets of the countries I have helped. It does not hurt. I am invincible. I've been soiled upon, burned, torn, and trampled in the streets of my own country. And when it's done by those whom I've served in battle, that's when it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the bonds of earth. I've stood watch over the uncharted frontier from my vantage point on the moon. I've borne silent witness to all of America's finest hours. But my finest hours are yet to come. For when I am torn into strips and used as bandages for my wounded comrades in a battlefield, when I'm flowing at half-mast to honor my soldiers, or when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving parent at the grave of their fallen son or daughter, I am proud. For you see, I am the flag of the United States of America. one nation under God, indivisible, by none. And if tomorrow all those things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children in my life, well, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defenders here today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time to stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defenders here today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget those men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defenders here today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Lodge Esquire, how shall we further honor our flag?
The flag is formally honored by the Pledge of Allegiance. This pledge was written in 1892 by Francis Bellamy and published in the Youth Companion as part of a patriotic campaign of that magazine. The pledge did not become part of the flag code until 1942. And in 1954, the phrase, "Under God," was added.
Let us all stand and pledge ourselves never to forget the principles represented by this flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
The first fold of our flag is a symbol of life. The second fold is a symbol of our belief in eternal life. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of the veterans departing our ranks, who gave a portion of their lives for the defense of our country to attain peace throughout the world. The fourth fold represents our weaker nature, for as American citizens, trusting it is to Him we turn in times of peace, as well as in time of war for His divine guidance. The fifth fold is a tribute to our country, for in the words of Stephen educator. Our country, in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but it is still our country, right or wrong. The sixth fold is for where our hearts lie. It is with our heart that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The seventh fold is a tribute to our armed forces, for it is through the armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all her enemies, whether they be found within or without the boundaries of our republic. And that eighth fold is a tribute to the one who entered into the valley of the shadow of death, that we might see the light of day and to honor Mother, for whom it flies on Mother's Day. The ninth fold is a tribute to womanhood, for it has been through their faith, their love, loyalty, and devotion that the character of the men and women who have made this country great has been molded. The 10th fold is a tribute to the Father, for he too has given his sons and daughters for the defense of our country since they were first born. The 11th fold in the eyes of a Hebrew citizen represents the lower portion of the seal of King David and King Solomon, and it glorifies in their eyes the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The 12th fold in the eyes of a Christian citizen represents an emblem of eternity and glorifies in their eyes God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The 13th fold. When the flag is completely folded, the stars are uppermost, reminding us of our national motto, "In God we trust." You place your hand on His Bible when you swear to tell the truth. His name's on our monuments and on our money too. And when we pledge allegiance, there's no doubt where we stand. There's no separation for one nation under Him. In God we still trust. Here in America, He's the one we turn to every time the going gets rough. He hears the source of all our strength, the one who watches over us. Here in America, in God we still trust. Now there are those among us who want to push Him out and erase His name from everything that this country's all about. From the schoolhouse to the courthouse, they're silencing His word. Now it's time for all believers to make our voices heard. In God we still trust. Here in America, He's the one we turn to every time the going gets rough. He is the source of all our strength, the one who watches over us. Here in America, in God we still trust. Here in America, here in America, here in America, in God we still trust. Here in America, in God we still trust. Here in America.
For many years, it has been a tradition for this lodge at this ceremony to have one of our members, Milo Miller, do a special recitation of that ragged old flag. Unfortunately, Milo is no longer with us, having passed away earlier this year. Although he will be greatly missed, our tradition continues. I walked through a county courthouse square, and on a park bench, an old man was sitting there. I said, "Your old courthouse is kind of run down." He said, "No, it'll do for our little town." I said, "Your flagpole's leaned a little bit, and that's a ragged old flag you got hanging on it." He said, "Have a seat." So I sat down. "Is this the first time you've been to our little town?" I said, "I think it is." He said, "Well, I don't like to brag, but we're kind of proud of that ragged old flag. You see, we got a little hole in that flag there when Washington took it across the Delaware, and it got powder burned the night Francis Scott Key sat watching it writing, 'Oh, say, can you see?' It got a bad rip down in New Orleans with Pakenham and Jackson tugging at its seams, and it almost fell at the Alamo beside the Texas flag, but she waved on, though. She got cut with a sword at Chancellorsville, and she got cut again at Shiloh Hill. There was Robert E. Lee, Beauregard, and Bragg, and the south wind blew hard on that ragged old flag. On Flanders Field in World War I, she got a big hole from a Bertha gun, and she turned blood red in World War II. She hung limp and low by the time it was through. She was in Korea and Vietnam. She went where she was sent by her Uncle Sam. She waved from our ships upon the briny foam, and now they've about quit waving her back here at home. In her own good land, she's been abused. She's been burned, dishonored, denied, and refused, and the government for which she stands is scandalized throughout the land. And she's getting threadbare and wearing thin. But she's in good shape for the shape she's in, because she's been through the fire before, and I know she can take a whole lot more. So we raise her up every morning, and we take her down every night. We don't let her touch the ground, and we fold her upright. On second thought, I do like to brag, because I'm mighty proud of that ragged old flag. Please stand. We will now have the playing of taps, and the honor guard will retire the flag. At ease, please be seated. In conclusion of this observance of Flag Day, let us rededicate ourselves to the flag of the United States of America, and may the principles of charity, justice, brotherly love, and fidelity ever increase within each of us. I now declare this service closed.